Mic check, mic check. Morning Masters podcast, your host made of course. I want to first thank all the listeners, all the supporters, anybody that shared my stuff, shared my links, listen to it, share, send it to somebody else, friend of a friend, call me, send me messages, text, whether it's emails, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, my story, all that stuff, man, all the supporters. Definitely wouldn't be able to do this week out without y'all. Another Thinking Out Loud, of course. I'm not even sure what number this is. I'll look at it once I finish editing and everything. But I want to start with a little bit. I'm not trying to get into the Will Smith and Chris Rock situation too heavy because I think I got something for that. But if not, it ain't that deep also because I don't really care about it. But social media will make you care about things that you really don't care about. Or they'll force you to. Social media it's like the new radio. You know, like back in the day where you didn't like a song, but they played it so much, you start like the song. That's how social media is with like a lot of situations or topics rather. It's like you don't care about it, whatever. But then you scroll down your timeline, every time you scroll down, it's a status or it's a conversation, it's a group post, it's a comment or back and forth, some kind of exchange where you're engaged in it and you want to partake in it because now you have a say so or a comment or a thought on it, and it's like you didn't care about it at first, but now you do kinda because you talking about it. So social media definitely do that to you. And what I saw on social media was interesting to say the least. It was very interesting because I saw people talking about things that I feel like one thing about me, I feel like sometimes speaking on things that you know nothing about, it's not really conducive to anything you're doing future wise, right? So I saw people talking about what a married man or a married woman should do that never been married before, and I'm like, oh, wait, let's calm down for a minute, brother, sister. You never been okay, but and you can have an opinion on whatever you want to have an opinion on. I'm not here to say I'm the opinion God and like nobody can have an opinion on nothing, but that's just always been weird to me to have an opinion on things like that when you haven't gotten to that step yet, But to get into it, I ain't gonna get too much into Will and Chris. Like I'll leave that for someone else. But what I'll say is this, man. Well, the only thing I didn't like that I will speak on is I didn't like how he used his speech, I guess, to kind of. I'm not saying he wanted to make what he did right or okay, but it was almost like he wanted confirmation from whoever was there watching. Like we understand why you did it. That's what the speech said to me. So I thought it was dope that the person that he actually played in the movie who he won an Oscar for pretty much came out and said, "Nah, that ain't what I would have did. Like, nah, that ain't me. Don't use me as your scapegoat in this situation." So aside from Will and Chris, I want to talk about just what people are saying on social media a little bit, right? So one thing I noticed that people definitely didn't understand or didn't have the right definition for protection and defending, right? You saying something to somebody else and then me then physically harming them isn't necessarily me protecting you. If that makes sense, like that doesn't necessarily mean I'm protecting you now because he or she said this to you. Now I'm going to, so I protected you. Them saying that to you didn't put you in any danger. So that's not protection to me. Once again, I'm not married, so maybe when you become married, protection, the definition changes for protection and defend. I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comments if y'all feel that way, right? And I said I won't get into this, but see how you just get into it. Like I feel like now me talking, I'm gonna have to get into it, right? So I wanted to. I'm gonna bring one of my own situations up that just recently happened last year, and I never talked about it too much because I didn't think it was that deep, but I will just to kind of give an example because I don't want to keep talking about these famous people that they okay, like they went home and to their mansions and whatever, and they okay, their kids is okay. So I don't care to have spend time talking about rich famous people. So, but I say it to say, I think that people had the wrong definition for what protection was, or what defending was. I could defend somebody verbally, You know, you could disrespect somebody that I love, and I could just pull you to the side and say something to you, and that's defending them. You know, I can protect people I love. My daughter went to the bathroom. I can protect my daughter without, defending. Without physically harming someone. I don't have to physically harm someone in order to protect her. Are there instances where it may have to come to that? Of course. We're not talking about one right now with the Oscar situation, but I'll go back to last year, right? So last year, this is a good for thinking out loud too. Last year, man, I'm at the gas station, and I pull up to the gas station. Normally I pull up to the pump, but I didn't need gas, so I pull up to the gas station in the parking lot, right outside the door. And I always lock the car, keep the air on for them because it's hot. It's summertime. It was hot. I go in, I ask what they want. Okay, cool. I go in, get the candy, get this. You know what I'm saying? Get my hot cherry Pepsi, which I'm drinking right now, by the way. So I look outside the window. I'm in line now. I ain't gonna say where I was at. I'm in the neighborhood though. In a neighborhood though. And I look outside, and it's a guy like leaning on a car. So I go to the door, like, yo, my man, get up, All right, cool. He get off. So the line is just not moving. So I'm still in line. Look again, and he's still like leaning on the car. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, so I go to the door. I say, yo, get off my car. He's like, oh, he laughed a little bit. He got off. All right, cool. Mind you, my two doors in the car, right? So in my mind, I'm just thinking about them. All right, cool. So the third time I'm looking and I see it again, and now it's like blatant disrespect to me, even how it's leaning. So I go outside, I walk up to him. I know it seems like aggressively, but I walk up to him. I'm like, yo, what are you doing in my car? Pow! Right? Now, from there, like, he didn't even try to fight back. And I kind of figured then, like, okay, maybe he ain't all the way there. But that was my problem. That wasn't my to me at the time, that was my problem. That's how I felt that day. And in that moment, in that stage of life where I was at, I just didn't care. I'm like, yo, why are you? So I want to say something about that though, right? I was in the wrong from the get-go. This is my thing about protection and defending, right? Because to me, I felt like me slapping him was justifiable and all that, because I'm like, yo, you on my car, my daughter's here, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, get the F in my car. So me hitting him, I feel like I'm protecting them, right? But I was wrong, 100% wrong. Let me tell you why. For one, I was wrong because I should have just brought them in with me. That's number one. I should have just brought them in with me. So now they're most protected when they're with me. So I was the one. I kind of had them in the danger, if in my personal opinion. Now that I'm looking back at it, right? That's the first thing. But let's take that out because that happens. People do that. It happens sometimes. Cool. I don't know this man from a can of paint. Don't know what he about. Don't know if he was carrying a gun. None of that stuff, right? I could have slapped him, and next thing he knew, he could have pulled out a gun and shot me. And now I can't protect my two girls no more. I'm gone. That's it. I'm done. I can't protect them in that instance. He shot me. He could have opened the car door, took the keys off me or something, and probably did something to them. So and I say it to say, and I hate to take it that far, but I say it to say, sometimes what we look at as protection and defending isn't conducive to what we think or what we should be protecting and defending. Because me protecting and defending would have been just keeping them with me. Me protecting and defending would have been like, hey, yo, you know what? Close the car off. Y'all come with me. Boom. Or just go into my car, go into a different gas station, because clearly this guy just didn't want to respect me at that point. That would have been protecting and defending. Sometimes walking away, sometimes not making the situation escalate is what I would call protection, right? If somebody's going to slap you, no pun intended, somebody's going to slap you, they're going to slap you, right? Cool. But I could protect you by making sure that person that's going to slap you ain't gonna shoot you, ain't gonna punch you till you unconscious, ain't gonna knock you out. Like, it's different forms of protection, I feel like. And I feel like in that situation, of course, I don't know if that was necessarily protection. I don't know if that was even defending. 'Cause I feel like for what the situation was, I don't know if it called for what happened. It was cool to see, you know what I'm saying? It's the world we live in. We like to see stuff, we like to be entertained, and things of that nature. But for me, I just feel like, you never know what the ramifications is for your actions. And if you're going to talk about defending family, protecting family, you only can do that while you're here. So you don't know who out there love this man, who out there, is down to ride for such and such. You out here putting your hands on people, not knowing what the ramifications could be. And that's my thing with protecting. Like I always say, one thing people say, they be like, and this is I love using this analogy, but one of my favorite analogies is on Lauryn Hill. She goes, fuck, how's it go? Damn, I'm drawing a blank. It's my favorite songs too. But she goes, you said you die for me, like, well, won't you live for me? And I think that's the thing. Like people think it's easy. I mean, it's easy to say that, I'll die for you, I'll die for you. And that sounds cool, but that's the dumbest shit you could say. It's dumb. Only in a situation where that makes sense is when somebody say, yo, I'm killing you or I'm killing this person. Like, it's your choice. All right, cool. That sounds cool. Then I'll die for you. All right, boom, you get to live. All right, whatever. But when you think about it, like, that's just a coward way out, because it's harder to live for somebody than it is to die for somebody. Dying for somebody is, I ain't never did it. You know what I'm saying? No pun intended. I ain't never died for nobody, but I would assume that's it, because that's it. Like, you don't have to, it's nothing. You gone. That's it, right? But living for somebody, it takes learning. It takes living for somebody, it takes a lot of learning. It takes a lot of trial and fail, trial and error. It takes a lot to really live for somebody. You know what I'm saying? So it's easier said than done when somebody goes around saying, I die for you, I die for you. That little Oscar debacle was, like, to me, like one of those I'll die for you type of things. And I don't know if that slap was even for Chris Rock or whatever, but that's neither here nor there. I'll talk about that more in depth another time. But yeah, my thing with that is just like, I think when you talk about protecting somebody, you talk about defending somebody, we got to really get down to the nitty gritty on what defending is. You know what I'm saying? If somebody, when I was younger, like, you know what I'm saying, somebody joked on somebody and you want to defend that kid from, joking, you didn't have to necessarily beat at the person that was joking on them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can just step in and joke for that person, or, you know what I'm saying, you get your get back when you get your get back, whatever. But that's defending, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know what's going on that night, bro. I don't know. That's a different world. I don't live in that world, man. And just in media, period, right? I had posted something today, and I wanted to kind of expound on it, but I think sometimes we often, like, we see like a finished product. So anybody that's just, I'm gonna use me for example, because I think it's best, since I'm one talking. I don't want to get upset me using them. So, me having doing a particular thing for 6 years, when somebody meets me, whether it's now or the past year, 2 years, right? You seeing not a finished product, but you seeing a product that's been molded. It's molded product. You know what I'm saying? A okay product. So naturally, when you run into me, or you around me, or you're around somebody like me, or somebody that's doing that at a nice level, it seems to be easy. And that's just with this. I'm talking about anything now. Excuse me. It seems to be easy, but that's because you didn't see the first year, the first 12 months. You didn't see the first 2 years. You didn't see the times where messed up. You didn't see the times where I put out bad content. You didn't see the times where the interview wasn't really hitting like it's supposed to hit. Like, you seeing someone who's been doing this continuously and very consistently for 5-6 years, and now starting to do things at a higher level, higher quality, better quality. That's naturally what you're seeing. But if I don't sit here and tell you or walk you through or run you through the first 2, 4, 5 years, I'm not doing you no service, right? And a lot of times, what I notice is that, and I help anybody, right? So anybody, whether it's podcast, whatever, like you media, I try to push and help. A lot of times, I'll come here, I'll let somebody come in the studio and watch me do a podcast. Y'all seen it, y'all watched the show, you seen the channel. I'll do it because I don't want anybody to ever have to go through it as much as I had to go through it when I started, right? But I'm seeing that anything, photography, I see it in photography, I see it in rapping or singing, videography, any type of artwork you could think of. I think sometimes people see it working for someone and working for a particular person, And like, I could jump into that. I can do that. And that is fine. Nothing wrong with being inspired. I will never, ever, ever stop someone from being inspired by someone or something. Being inspired is totally healthy. The only thing I'll be wanting people to do is do your due diligence, do your research, like really get engulfed into what you're getting into so that you don't feel like a failure when things aren't going the way you expect them to go. And anybody I talk to, I tell them the same thing. Like, you just keep pushing, do this, do that. Like, because and sometimes I don't know what somebody has went through, with their entity or whatever they're trying to do, and I don't know how far they came or haven't came. You know what I'm saying? So I always uplift and give kind words and just gestures of keep pushing, keep doing this, and giving different ideas of what they can and should do. Because I'm not that person that's you going to be like, yeah, I was doing it, but he never supported me. I support anybody and everybody every time. But I also want you to support yourself. I want you to do your due diligence. I want you to go research everything on your own. I want you to do it, because if I did it, if the person you look up to did it, somebody that you admire does it for you, it's not really doing you a service, because that person done did it for that person already. Person A that you're going to, person A looked and did all the research and due diligence for person A. So person A know what person A want. You can't go to person A for you. You gotta kind of do it because you want to do it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta do your own research. You gotta kind of embody your own things. Like when I started, I went to people and I was like, yo, what's this nice to use? What's this nice to use? But you gotta start watching. Matter of fact, somebody I know trying to buy a camera. You know what I'm saying? And like she like, what camera to use? We speak to some people. Get this camera. She's watching videos and like doing the due diligence. I get proud when I see that. Like, okay, bam, okay, they watching the video. They know what camera they want. They know what features they want. They know why they want them features. They know what they want to do. That's doing their due diligence, and that's dope. I love it. But when people start to jump in things and not do that due diligence, I get worried, because I know how easy it is to get discouraged when things aren't going where you expect them to go. But if you're doing things like that based on something you're seeing in somebody else's work, and you're not putting in that work that somebody else is putting in, you're never going to see the real problem. So you'll see people on social media saying, when you see people screaming about support, that's probably one of the top things. I ain't going to sit here and talk about support. I got a podcast damn near every month about support, it seems like, right? I love the support I get. Could I get more? I probably could. Could I get less? Damn sure could. So I'm gonna be grateful for whatever I get. I still, even after 6 years, or almost 6 years, I'm still big on grabbing one listener per week. If that's it. If I just get one per week, I'm fine. Like 52 weeks in a year, you think add that by 6, that'd be a love of supporters. If you did it that way, like that's how I look. I'm a slow grind. I don't care about that. So, but other people will. They get discouraged. When I see a podcast or episode ain't doing as well as I thought it should do, I think two things. One, it's before it's time. So, and that's just me being confident. I just feel like I don't put out like really bad material no more, but I feel like it's before it's time. I'm not promoting it right. Or three, let me see what I did wrong so I can do better next time I get something like this. And that's how I go from there. I don't play the blame game, right? But I also put the work in. So people that put the work in typically don't complain about support, don't complain about this, because you being innovative, you thinking of different things to do. You're not dwelling on what didn't. Like to dwell on what didn't, it's like you stopping everything. You stopping your whole grind. You stopping everything you could be doing. Instead of dwelling on what didn't, you could be making a whole new scheme, a whole new design, a whole new song, a whole new podcast, a whole new hat, a whole new shoe, whatever you do. You could be doing that. But you stop your grind, you stop everything, you stop your motion when you just dwell on that thing that you can't even control. That'd be the main thing. You can't even control it. So like for me, that'd be the main thing. You can't control it. Like, but with all this, and I'm trying to wrap up. With all this, it comes with time too. Like it's about really knowing the importance of time, and that's something I like. This week has been a thing for me, like knowing the importance of time. And I say it to say like it's only 24 hours a day. The older you get and the more you do, the more motion you got, the more you realize that ain't nothing. A day go by like that. It ain't nothing. 24 hours is not a lot of time. You factor in, like, I'm going to say for me, I'd be at work 10, 11 hours, so boom. That's almost half the day right there. Half my day, I'm somewhere else. So even when I'm there, I'm trying to manage time. And I don't think people understand that sometimes. You calling, you doing this, I can't reach back. That's why I'd rather, if I have to deal with that, I just won't deal with it. I'd rather cut everybody off that complain about something like that. So I will have to deal with that. Now I know that's manage my time better. I'll be at work. I have to work. I got to pay bills, right? So you got 12 more hours in a day. I might hit the studio, my kids, myself, time to myself. Them three things right there. My studio 2, kids 2, myself. I'm gonna just say an hour. You know what I'm saying? That's 5 right there. Now you got 6 hours left, damn near. And I'm rounding up doing math. I gotta sleep. I take 4 hours, maybe an hour to be on the phone, just doing whatever. It's like you gotta manage time with whatever you're doing. And I say this to say, like, I made a post the other day about people being part-time rappers or part-time artists, whatever. And I was joking, but when I think about it, I'm dead serious though. Like, even me as a podcast, like, I might work 10 hours, but if I open or I get off at 4 in the afternoon, best believe I'm coming, I'm editing, I'm doing something in the studio, something, because this is what I do. This is mine. This is something I control. I got 100% control over this, so I have to control it. You build the audience. You gotta entertain. You gotta feed the supporters, or that supporters stop. You gotta feed the supporters. So if you're a rapper or you're a singer, you're an artist, you're a designer, you make clothes, you make this, you do that. I don't care what it is you do. You do organizational things. You have to make time for the stuff that you do and love. If you don't, you just wasting time. But you have to set time aside for it as well. You can't just set time aside for, okay, I'm gonna do this from 8 to 10. And it sounds good, but what did you really do from 8 to 10? Like, did you do the stuff you said you were gonna do, or you just say I'm gonna do it? I don't necessarily have to set a time because I love what I do, like 100%. No matter how tired I am, like I just told you, 2 hours for the studio, 2 hours for my kids. I love my kids to death. I'm trying to make them have the same amount of time as the studio. That's why I love the studio. You know what I'm saying? Like, my daughter right now, she's in the back. Like, I'm with her all day, but I had to make time for the studio. Got to make time for the studio. This is what I do. What you do, you gotta make time for it, man. Like, you can't go making somebody else money and then don't come check on your dream, or don't come check on something you love to do. You can't go do something that you dislike doing for 8-10 hours and you can't spend 2 hours on something you love doing. That don't make sense. It don't add up. Like, tell me how that makes sense. Okay, you go to work 8 hours, you don't like it, you hate it, you get off, you do this, you do that, you go to sleep, wake up, go to work 8 hours, do this, repeat. That's crazy as hell. Nowhere in these 3-4 days did you do the things you love to do. If you can do something you dislike for 8 hours, you mean tell me you can't just put 2 hours aside to do something you love to do? Whatever artistic thing you love to do. I like podcasting, so I love to do. I'm gonna try to put 4 hours aside pod if I can. I'll take because I allocate hours for sleep, right? I'll take hours out of my sleep for podcasting and for things that I appreciate, and for when I'm trying to be there for somebody, or just out of love. I'll take 2 hours. Like, I'll be on the phone with somebody and I want to go to sleep for 6 hours, but I'll just take 4 because the conversation went 2 hours, whatever the case may be. All right, cool, I'll do that. Not that it matters, because but whatever. I'll do that. You know what I'm saying? But in the same breath, it's just about a thing where that's something you gotta have in you. You gotta be here, you gotta be up here. Time is important. And time is important also because, at least for my craft, like, people think that a lot of times they think that you can just get up and go pod, right? So I might hit somebody up and like, yo, I want to do a podcast, let me know you ready, oh, we could do it now. Like, whoa, I'm not prepared. I gotta be prepared. It's a lot to come into this. Like, people think you come here, you sit down, you press record, and you just go. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Like, once you get acclimated, then you probably can do that, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Like, it take a lot. You gotta gear the episode for that person, know who you're dealing with, know how to react to that person. Sometimes the dry conversations you might get. It's a lot that I ain't gonna get into all that. It's a lot that go into that, you know what I'm saying? So, but I definitely feel like, if you're gonna do something, put your all into it, man. That's what I think the most. If you're gonna do something, put your all into it, man. That's it, man. Nothing Thinkin Out Loud, man. We out.